Hi, in this video I'm going to talk about the multiple ways in which an item can explode in the kiln and ways to prevent that. So if you have any questions after watching this video, if you don't understand something or maybe something I said didn't fully make sense, put them in the comments below and I will be able to help you, or just find me and I'll be able to help you. All right, so a couple tips. If you make something that is too thick, do you see how thick that is of clay? What will happen in the kiln is it will break and it will separate. If the clay is too thick, it will not fire properly because it won't dry all the way. So it'll break, okay? So if you don't want your clay to break, you need to make sure it's not too thick. But also on the other side of that, you want to make sure it's not too thin. If it's too thin, too fragile, it will also break. And you also want to make sure that all of your pieces are stuck together appropriately. If they're not stuck together, do you see this? If I wanted to pull this off, I could pull that off. You need to make sure that you're sticking your pieces together with the appropriate amount of vinegar, blending, coils, all of that, okay? So again, you don't want them to be too thin. Look, this one is too thin and it broke, and it was too thick, so it broke. And then another thing you really need to be careful about is if you get an air bubble in your clay. So if you look at this big divot right here, and there's a divot right there, there was also an air bubble in that clay. And what happens when you put it in the kiln, because the kiln gets up to 2,350 degrees, okay? So when you put it in the kiln, it's basically a big oven, okay? So when I put all of your pieces in there, when they're dry, and then I turn it on and it starts heating up, what happens is all of the molecules that are wet start trying to expand, right, into a gas, and then it leads to an explosion. So also the molecules try to expand into a gas if there's an air bubble trapped. So if an air bubble is trapped, it will explode. And if it explodes and you destroy your piece and other people's pieces, there's gonna be a lot of upset people in this room, okay? So please make sure that you are making sure your clay dries all the way, that it's not too thin, and that it's not too thick, okay? This is about as thick as you would want it. I do not want any clay pieces thicker than that. But on the same side, you don't want anything super thin like that. That's very fragile, okay? So if you mess up with your clay and you need it to be re-wedged, let me teach you how to re-wedge it before you just try, okay? Because I do not want anybody's pieces exploding in the kiln.